Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona and away. Joe for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Up now as we've got three wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
Just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the League Zero Racing Series, the premier Formula iRacing League. Today we're at Circuit Zandvoort for another great round. Season 8, it's round 9, the Dutch Grand Prix. As always, I'm your host, James Eastspring, the Action 1080p, 60 frames a second. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, as it looks like drivers are getting gridded up and ready to go. On pole, Jaden Calloway, the number 37 machine. Raymond Aguilar, the defending champ, starting second. Nick Beaver starting third. Nick Peterson starting fourth. Antonio Bianchi starts fifth. Charles Carrener starting sixth. Gareth McAllister, the world-famous Aussie, starting seventh. Leo Delmas starting eighth. AJ Brenner starting ninth. Ben Depew starting 10th. Ryan Tebow starts 11th. Andrew Neri starting 12th. Cycled on back, Jace Meyer starting 13th. David Iezzi starting 14th. Christian Gritzko starts 15th. Jacob Bramley starting 16th. Julian Mador starts 17th. Xavier Zanave, the Flying Frenchman, starts 18th. David Schmidt starting 19th. Michael Fairchild starting 20th. Andrew Wiskowski starting 21st. Jeremy Barber starts 22nd. And Eric Guillory will round out the 23-car grid here today. Welcome, fans, friends, and family, to a great race here at the Dutch Grand Prix, starting the sprint off 15 laps. We've got Shazi Zuhair join us from the spectator area. Always great seeing Shazi. Unfortunately, not out on track here today at the Dutch Grand Prix, but still making his way out of the spectator area to cheer on his homies who will be competing here. Well, let us know. Maybe some predictions from the spectators. Who's going to bring it home on top? Who's going to go home early? As right now, Jaden Calloway has a commanding 42 points lead over his teammate AJ Brenner. Ray Aguilar sitting in third. Looks like we're still waiting. Wizikowski and Guillory not making the grid, so we're going to get ready for the lights to turn on and go off. It's going to be 21 drivers starting the sprint. And we are green flag racing. Already some bumping and grinding going on in the midfield. Ray Aguilar. Whoa, is that Jaden Calloway? Calloway, the defending champ, off track. Looking for a way to get back on. Calloway drops down the standings all the way back to, it looks like it's going to be 19th. He makes his way around David Schmidt, and I think Jeremy Barber no, Barber was not involved in the incident, it was Schmidt. So Callaway is going to have his work cut out for him, pulling up alongside the Frenchman, Xavier Zanabe. Callaway down 17 positions. Ray Aguilar, this late in the season, needs a handful of miracles to go his way if he wants to retain that #1 plate. We got Dylan Waldron here cheering on Ryan Tebow. We got our good friend Finley Fitzsimmons joining as well. And we got another crash report. This time it's Michael Fairchild. Let's see what happens to Michael here in the 88. Looks like he just loses the brakes. Maybe hard on the brakes, throws the balance of the car off, spins it around. Aguilar up front, Beaver second, and McAllister and Bianchi have contact, and there's parts scattered everywhere. Oh, and who else is involved in that? Looks like that's AJ Brenner, I think, with it off track. So let's go ahead and get that replay button queued up, as it looks like McAllister takes a tow down pit road. Wait a second. Was that McAllister that caused that incident? No, McAllister's an innocent victim here. That was AJ Brenner, I think, came in a little bit deep, tags McAllister. McAllister tags Bianchi. And the parts scatter here at the Dutch Grand Prix. The McAllister, Brenner, Bador, all taking tow back to pit road. And more car parts scattered everywhere. That's David Iezzi and Jacob Bramley. There goes Jeremy Barber, the #2 machine. We're not going to have a lot of drivers here at the end of this thing if this continues. We're watching David Iezzi loses it. Bramley comes in, gives him a little bit of a smooch. And they're both off track. And another incident. As soon as we go back live, this time it's Ben Depew, the #19 machine. He's going to be that fluorescent yellow and black. Pushes way, way wide, spins it around. And parts scatter everywhere. So the list of drivers still on a track very rapidly declining here. We have whittled it down to only 15 drivers out on track. Hard charger on the circuit is going to be our own Jeremy Barber. That #2 machine has worked his way up 9 spots up into the 13th place position. We check in on Ray Aguilar, the race leader. He's got Nick Beaver right behind that #87 machine. Gonna be interesting to see. Beaver set the fastest lap of the race last time by a 1:16.71. Has a bit of a bobble there, loses about 2/10 to Aguilar. Dylan Waldron saying, is this 2 weeks ago? A bit of a repeat. Aguilar fires back with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:15, like a 9.6, 9.57. Aguilar rocking and rolling here, defending current points leader Jaden Callaway has worked his way back up to 10th. I'm not sure what the math needs to be for Aguilar to put himself back in title contention. I'm hesitant to say, but I think he might need the next 3 races to be perfect. Here's the battle for 6th on track. Andrew Neri in the 64 version, Kristen Gritzko in the 91. Right behind them, you can see Antonio Bianchi, the #17 machine, as Gritzko makes contact with Neri. Neri gets dumped. Bianchi gets tagged in that. So let's see. So Neri's out front here. Does he have a bobble? Can't quite call that one, and Bianchi able to get through right okay. And look at that, who's back in the top 10? It's Jaden Callaway. working his way past Bianchi and Gritzko. I saw somebody push a little bit wide there. That was Bianchi. He's going to lose the spot to Gritzko right behind them. That is Ryan Tebow and Jace Meyer having a heated battle just inside the top 10. Tebow trying to put a move on Bianchi to squeeze up into 8. And it looks like Tebow makes it happen nice and clean there. Taking over the 8th place spot. That's a good question. Somebody just pointed out, does Bianchi have a front wing? No is the answer. Bianchi's going to try and stay out for 10 more laps with no front wing, no arrow on the front of that machine. The fact that he's still making his way around at all is extremely impressive. Now, last time by, Bianchi was about 2 seconds off his fastest lap of the race. Speaking of fast laps, Nick Beaver just clicks off another heater, a 1:15.792. Jaden Calloway back, has worked his way up into 6th, a 1:15.5. 3/10 faster than anybody else out on track now. Kazi Zuhair pointed out Bianchi did not have the front wing, and Bianchi does come down pit road as Jeremy Barber takes the alternative line there in the number 2 machine. And he's going to fall back to 14th. So now the hard charger is going to be Michael Fairchild, the 88. He's up 9 spots. Trying to cruise around in no man's land here. He's about 7 seconds back from 10th place Xavier Zanave. About 6.5 ahead. That's going to be David Schmidt in the 54. Oh, and as I say that, Fairchild, a bit of a solo car incident there. Checking back in, Leo Delmas. He's got Charles Carrener right behind in the 76. That could be the battle for 4th. Now, Aguilar still leading the race by about a second, but Beaver is getting closer and closer. Kind of going accordion back and forth. We check in on Beaver, the number 87 machine. Within a second here. Both drivers last time by almost identical lap times, a 1:15.9 for the pair. Beaver has a bit of momentum built up from other league events here on iRacing. We got Carl Hartwell join us in the spectator area. Carl, why aren't you out on track? A few of the normal League Zero drivers join us in the spectator area. Carl Hartwell, Shazi Zuhair, a retired Finley Fitzsimmons. Good to see some old fan favorites joining us, even if they're not out on track, still enjoying the show, cheering on their friends and competitors. Beaver trying to close that gap. Less than 7 laps left to go here. Now Bianchi did get back out on track. He is running 14th. And here's a battle. Christian Gritzko, Ryan Tebow battling for 7th, separated by less than a quarter of a second. While that's going on, Leo Delmas, Charles Carrener are still within 0.4 of a second, and their battle for 4th. Ryan Tebow makes a pass. Looked like there was contact there with Gritzko. And who was that? That was Jace Meyer. Managed to avoid Gritzko. I don't think Gritzko really did much wrong there. Oh, look at that huge moment. Oh, man. Jace Meyer. No, that was Ryan Tebow, I think. That was such a close moment between the two. Aguilar still leading this thing, still holding that 9/10 advantage over Nick Beaver. Beaver running a part-time schedule this year, but has been running very, very well. Beaver has 2 seconds, a third, and a fourth to his name out of his 6 starts, so very frequently up here at the top. David Schmidt comes down pit road for an unscheduled green flag stop. Now in the sprint, we normally, historically, don't see drivers come down pit road unless they have some sort of damage, but still racing all across this circuit. Actually, let's go a little bit further up. Carlos Carrener has company. Jaden Calloway driving like a man possessed after a rough start here. And they're also catching up to Leo Delmas, the number 21 machine. So Delmas has 2 freight train drivers right behind. Got a little bit of micro buffering there, it looks like. Calloway makes that pass on Carrener. Delmas hold on to the 4th place spot, but Calloway, the 37, started this race off up front, falls all the way to the back, has remounted the charge up into the top 5. I'm trying to figure out what's going on up here in the broadcast booth. We got some sort of major difficulties going on. Calloway keeping the pressure on Delmas and that number 21 machine. Calloway knowing he had a good points lead coming into tonight, but wants to stop the bleed off of points as Aguilar running relatively uncontested up front. Oh no, what happened there? Calloway off track. Was there contact? It sure sounded like it. Just 2 drivers trying to occupy the same position. And Calloway takes a tow back to pit road, has retired from the sprint. So they are dropping like flies here at the Dutch Grand Prix. Try and tweak some broadcast things. I'm not quite sure why we're having these hiccups up here in the booth. We'll try and get that corrected for the fans at home. So it's going to be interesting. Aguilar still leading this thing, about 9/10 up over Nick Beaver. You can see Aguilar on the push to pass. Last time by was a 1:15.68. compared to Beaver, a 1:15.86. As it looks like only 14 of the 23 entries still out on the circuit. And this is going to be very interesting to see what it does for the points championship. Aguilar desperately needed a win to keep his championship defense alive. And we got a couple more laps, and let's see, he pulls a little bit more of a gap over Nick Beaver. Gotta agree with Dylan Waldron saying Callaway's pace was fairly unmatched here so far, but it's going to be interesting to see Callaway showing 15th, so he will not be a part or not be up at the front for the feature. Now there is no more inverted grid as we see Beavers on the push to pass. Aguilar still has some left in the tank here. The white flag will be out next time by. And a half second separating these top two drivers. Can Beaver pull something out here at the end and try and get that prestigious win? Now, I don't think Beaver has ever secured a League Zero win here before. I'm going to try and get stats on that. No, Beaver has had one win. That was back on October 20th, 2022 at Monza, where he brought home the win and led 7 out of 11 laps. Can he break the dry spell? Over 1 year later, it's a new car, the same league. It's going to be interesting here as Aguilar on the push to pass. What about Beaver? White flag is out here at the Dutch Grand Prix. Both drivers on the push to pass as Beaver sets the fastest lap of the race. There's no more time for waiting. If Beaver's going to try and make something happen, it's got to be soon. 3/10 separating these top two drivers. They have both been extremely consistent here. Aguilar pulls another couple of tenths back in his favor. Oh, a little bit of slide there for Aguilar. Gonna lose about a tenth here. Let's see, we've got less than a half lap left to go. 7/10 separating these top two. Aguilar really needs the win, but he's got a very eager Beaver right behind, looking for that second career win. 6/10 separating the two. About a tenth of a lap left to go. I think Aguilar's looking very good here. He's out of push to pass. Beaver's on the button. It's going to be 4/10 in closing, but no, Aguilar is going to pick up the win. 4/10 ahead of Beaver. And it looks like that's going to be Nick Peterson. As it's Aguilar, Beaver, Peterson, 1, 2, 3. We're waiting for these drivers to get up here to victory lane. And it looks like We're still waiting on a couple of the drivers to make their way up here. Got Aguilar. Waiting on Peterson. And it looks like the gang is all here, so we're going to start things off with Nick Peterson bringing it home in third. Nick, welcome back to the top three, and we've had a lot of consistent results from you out here this season.
Yeah, come back last week and P3 twice. Can't be happy with that.
I mean, things were going well, and we saw attrition playing a major factor in the sprint. Drivers going off track left and right, a lot of car-to-car contact. What's the expectations coming to the feature tonight? Is it going to be carnage-filled, or are drivers going to be a little bit more patient?
Yeah, I think it's going to be about the same. And we've got 30 laps to do, so it's going to be a lot of chances to take each other out.
Now, any different changes of strategy going to the feature, or are you just going to stick to the same course and see what happens?
Well, hopefully I can get a better start. I spun the tires, which actually worked out for me, but hoping to get a better start and just kind of drive my race.
Awesome, Nick. It's always a pleasure, buddy. A great result here tonight. Before I let you go, get ready for the feature. Who do you want to give a shout to that helps make this podium possible for you?
Shout out to my dad for watching and cheering me on, and Laura, my wife, for also cheering me on.
Awesome. Nick, always a pleasure, buddy, and hope to have you back up here following the feature.
Thanks, James.
That was Nick Peterson bringing it home in third. Up next, we've got Mr. Nick Beaver, the number 87. Nick, what a week. We talked yesterday saying we might see up in the top three here in the Super Formula and able to make it happen here.
Yeah, I had no expectations coming into tonight. I was hoping for maybe a top 5, but a podium's pretty cool too. And hanging on to Raymond, that's a win in its own right, I think.
Now, Nick, we were looking at a bit of a stats. It's been since October of last year you had a League Zero win. And tonight, for the first time in a minute, it looks like that is very much a second possibility for you. What are you going to do in the feature race to try and make that happen?
I really don't know. I felt like right at the end there, the tires might have been getting away from me, and that was 15 laps. So I guess my strategy might be, and if Ray's listening, whoops. But anyway, maybe pit around the halfway point so the tires don't feel so dead at the end of the second stint. Yeah, I just hanging on to these fast guys is really my goal. Maybe force them into a mistake. I mean, they're so good that I don't think that's going to happen. And in fact, I made the mistakes this time. But hopefully I don't do that in the next race. Maybe use the push to pass a little more strategically. I don't really know how to use it, so I just use it at the end of the race. So yeah, it's all a learning experience, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, it seems like it's going well for you, Nick. Always a pleasure talking to you in whatever car you're doing great in. Before I let you go, get ready for the feature. Who do you want to give a shout to that helps make this second place possible for you and the team?
I'm going to do a special shout out to Charles tonight. He's my J2I teammate. He's my teammate here too. It's his first night, and he got a top 5. So props to him. Thanks, James, for the stream. Thanks, Antonio, for putting on this league. It is a blast.
Awesome, Nick. Always a pleasure, bud. Congrats to both you and CK, and hope to have you back up here later tonight.
Thank you so much.
That was Nick Beaver bringing it home in second. But up next, the man, the myth, the legend, Ray Aguilar. Ray, you came into tonight, 0 expectations, saying you weren't going to put a lot of effort in, and next thing we know, we're on the top spot.
Yeah, I'm. Maybe that's the superstition in me now. I just got to pretend like I'm not in it anymore and get some points after all.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we were talking about tonight. Mathematically, it's going to be tough to lock up a championship, but with that pressure off for the most part, does that kind of allow you to hammer down a little bit harder and just not worry as much?
Nope, not for me. Each one of these I take seriously, so like, no, it doesn't. But at least maybe I won't be as mad and I won't punch walls again if I got crashed out again tonight.
Yeah, the monster back #1 machine. So hopefully that doesn't happen for you. But Ray, starting in the top spot in the feature event, you're going to have some clean air if you can get a good start. What's the strategy here for the feature to try and kind of avoid the carnage that we saw in the sprint?
That's going to be the trick, is getting the start. My start's been really inconsistent these last couple weeks, so I'm hoping I got it at least dialed in on the conservative side so I don't lose spots on the start, but we'll see. I think I got a decent one last time. I got a good launch. It's always hard to tell. I can't tell if I got a good launch and Jaden didn't, or if I got a great one. But man, is this what the broadcast booth looks like in the Netherlands? You guys
Yes.
have like all these cool fridges up here and drinks and
Yeah, all the new waffles that they've been providing us. It's pretty high tier up here.
I got to start hanging out with you more often. I'm going to try harder from now on so that way I can be up here more.
Or try less, and then
Yeah.
that way you can just join the broadcast team.
Yep, sounds good to me. I appreciate it, man.
Well, Ray, always a pleasure, bud. Before I let you go, get ready for the feature where you're going to absolutely phone it home again without any sorts of effort. Who do you want to give a shout-out to that helps make this win possible for you?
My wife for putting up with me whining like a baby all last week. My teammate for putting up with me whining like a baby all last week, and all those around me that I've turned into very sad, negative people by complaining all week long about crashing and my luck this season. Hopefully it turns around.
Well, I do too, because I wasn't included in that list, but I've got to hear it more than anybody. But
There
Ray,
you go.
always a pleasure, buddy. Congrats on the win, and good to have you back in it.
I love you like a brother, James.
I love you too, bro. That was Ray Aguilar bringing in the top spot of the sprint. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more League Zero action as we get these drivers ready for the feature event of the night here at the Dutch Grand Prix. All right, race fans, welcome back to the feature event here at the Dutch Grand Prix as we get drivers lined up, ready to go, and we're going to see who can bring it home here. Now, we are no longer running the inverted top 12 grids as we wait for Aguilar to take the field. So we're waiting on Jacob Bramley to take the grid and Andrew Wiskowski. Here we go, the lights get ready to come on. And we are green flag racing, already smoke on the background. As I think that was Xavier Zanave I saw just getting ready to tag the inside wall. And here we go. Absolute carnage. The caution will come out as drivers have absolutely bent it. It looked like it was Christian Gritzko, the first driver I think I saw involved in that. So let's see what happens. Gritzko shoots it up the middle, a little bit of net code there, but all is well. And then gets loose into turn one. I'm not sure if he had some contact, but that is going to be a very precarious position to throw it away. And then let's see if we can get our League Zero chopper cam pulled up as the field comes Kerala barreling in. Ryan Tebow's parked in a tough spot. So let's take a deep breath and go through the drivers involved as this crash continues in slow motion. Christian Gritzko, Ryan Tebow, Jace Meyer, Jaden Calloway, Ben Depew, Eric Guillory, David Iezzi, Gareth McAllister, Julian Medor, AJ Brenner, all involved in some sort of moment there in the lap one, turn one. Absolute shenanigans. So the safety car is out. And that will start lap 2 under caution. Where's the safety car at? So of that massive lift of drivers involved, Ryan Tebow is going to be the only one taking a tow back to pit road. It's the field making the broadcast software going absolutely. All right, let's see. Cross your fingers, toes, and every other appendage you can find as we try to adjust some settings here in the broadcast software. Let's see if maybe that's going to help with the issues we've been having. Very uncharacteristic for me in the booth. I mean, I've been broadcasting for years, and it's been a bunch of problems. And look at this. Ray Aguilar is going to lead just about everybody. I think Andrew Neri is maybe going to be literally the only driver staying out here. So Neri, the singular only driver opting to stay out. As the entirety of the rest of the field, it looks like Jacob Bramley also may be staying out. Not seeing Bramley down pit road. He's also up 11 spots. So I'm not quite sure what the call is there. Opting to stay out. If I'm looking at this correctly, only 2 drivers staying out. Andrew Neri and Jacob Bramley, the number 64 and the number 6 of Bramley. As, uh-oh. A huge lag spike. My goodness, we've got something going on here. Luckily, it looks like everything might be working. Fingers crossed. Hopefully the commentator's curse does not affect the commentator. So Andrew Neri will be leading the field this time by. It's a 30-lap feature. We have not done a lap under green flag conditions yet. Yeah, thanks to Shazi. Looks like the broadcast might have cleaned up a little bit. We changed some settings on the back end, but very odd. I mean, in years of broadcasting, I haven't had to tweak those settings, so a little befuddled by that one. But hey, that's life in showbiz, as the kids say. Hopefully things stay strong once we get this field rocking and rolling here for the feature event. If you're just tuning in after the bit of a reset we had, we are under pacing conditions as we had a huge lap 1, turn 1 incident. Only 2 drivers stayed out because the rule is you cannot box on the first lap or the last lap. So while under caution, the field all comes down pit road. There is a mandatory tire stop here in the League Zero Super Formula Series. 4 drivers are either on pit road or out of the race. Jace Meyer, Christian Gritzko, Ryan Tebow, and Andre Wiskowski, who was a DNS here today. And we are green flag racing, and already I saw somebody bending it towards the back. Oh, this is going to be gnarly into turn 1, and they just run out of talent there. No, they somehow save it. My goodness, I thought that was going to be another huge incident. And it is. That looks like AJ Brenner, Eric Guillory. I think Andrew Neri was one of the first ones involved in that. Let's get that replay queued up. Oh, Neri gets tagged. And then the field just comes barreling in there. No, another caution. Oh, my goodness, it's going to be a long night. So another caution here. Leo Delmas was involved. I think that was, I can't quite tell if that was Delmas who came charging in initially or was stuck batting cleanup duty. No, Delmas got a little bit of a bump and then nowhere to go. I'm trying to see who that was that got into Neri. Was that Aguilar, I wonder? I think it was Aguilar was involved in the contact with Andrew Neri. Poor Neri has been sent home early both races here tonight. What happens? There's Aguilar wheel to wheel. with Beaver. Beaver's on the inside line. Aguilar goes wide, completes the pass against Beaver. Shoots the gap to Neri. I think Neri was already tipping in there. Aguilar is going to get through that relatively unscathed. Then Neri's just going to get absolutely pounded. Eric Guillory was also involved in an incident. I'm not quite sure where. Oh. Somebody was checking up ahead of him. My goodness. Andrew Neri joined us from the spectator area trying to see what happened from the broadcast point of view. Yeah, I mean, I agree with the fans here. I'm not sure if there was contact there. And if there was, I mean, I don't think it was malicious or really an at-fault incident for anybody. I think it's just two drivers trying to occupy the same space. But tell you what, let's get the League Zero chopper cam pulled up. So Neri is in the black and looks like gold car on the top left. Here comes Aguilar. Aguilar makes the pass against Beaver. And let's really dial this up. So he completes the pass against Beaver. Looks to the inside. I think there was either contact or net code there. Enhance. Well, that's the wrong way. There might have been actual contact there, but... And then a little bit more as Aguilar's wing pops back into place. Andrew Neri, the dry sense of humor from the Ohio native saying, no, I'm just slow. We all know better up here in the booth. So another lap under eye-pacing conditions. Neri, who would have bode well for that caution, was unfortunately one of the big drivers that was predominantly involved, and I think we whittled it down to 15 drivers out on track. Tonight's second caution here at the Dutch Grand Prix, brought to you by Andrew Neri, our good friend with 6.5 Motorsports. We need to get an infield care center going on here for League Zero. That way drivers have a chance to come talk to the fans following a race ending, maybe even a career-ending incident. I can't think of a time we've ever had two cautions in a race here at League Zero. Normally it's one big incident, and then we whittle the field down so much there's just not enough drivers to cause a second incident. We know on the oval side of our broadcast, cautions always breed cautions. Maybe with 15 drivers. I'm wondering if they're going to do a single file restart. So let us know, race fans. Get a poll going up here. So we've got a poll up for the fans at home. Will there be another turn 1 yard sale? Right now it's split between, oh yes, there will be carnage, and no, maybe drivers will get through this one. You two could be the winner of some imaginary internet points. 75% of the viewers so far saying, oh, we're not done yet. Now, I will agree with the fans. I think there's going to be some incident on this restart. I do not think there will be another caution. I think, unless something just spectacular happens where the whole field bends it, which, as we've seen, could happen, I think we'll keep this thing green till the end. And I was correct in guessing a single file restart. Aguilar leading the field. Let's pan a little bit further back in the meat grinder. There's Antonio Bianchi, Gareth McAllister side by side through one. Looks like maybe, just maybe, the field's gonna get through turn 1. Thumbs up, a round of applause to the boys. Ooh, McAllister gets passed by Jaden Calloway. Calloway the 37 machine. So for the 25% of the viewers that said no turn 1 carnage, you have won the imaginary internet points here this evening. Aguilar holding on to the race lead. Beaver in hot pursuit, looking for that second ever career win here at League Zero. They built up a massive gap. There's Charles Carrener. Captain CK, as he's lovingly called in other circles. He's running third with Michael Fairchild, Nick Peterson, Antonio Bianchi, Jaden Calloway, Gareth McAllister, Ben Depew. There's so many talented drivers. Bianchi and Peterson side by side. Bianchi makes the move for 5th. Bianchi's going to put his head down, try and make his way up against Michael Fairchild. And look at that! There is Charles Carrener having a heated battle with Michael Fairchild. Antonio Bianchi in the mix. Peterson Calloway linked up nose to tail right behind him. And something has happened to the Italian Stallion. He's way off in the kitty litter. Let's see what happened. And something happened to Charles Carrener. Carrener's parked in a very precarious spot. I think if we hadn't had 2 cautions already, I think the yellow would have been thrown for that one. Let's see what happened to Bianchi. Just pushes wide and off track he goes. Now we pan the camera the same replay up to Carrener. Our League Zero chopper cam. Oh, Carrener just loses the back end. Does a great job holding the brakes. We've got a battle for third. Nick Peterson, Michael Fairchild. Jaden Calloway also in the fray here. Calloway mounting a charge. He's up 10 spots, but Gareth McAllister, the world famous Aussie, our current hard charger, he's up 13 positions. McAllister running 6th, but we're watching the upcoming battle for 4th, Fairchild versus Calloway. That is As Nick Peterson in third, just ahead of Fairchild. The number 24 machine holds a 6/7 advantage over fourth place Fairchild. It looks like that was Ben Depew at the tail end of that line as well. The number 19 machine, he's having a great race, up 11 spots so far, running 7th. Now Aguilar out front just puts off a 1:16.23, the fastest lap of the race. Beaver has his personal fastest, a 1:16.36, so maybe gonna finally get some momentum built up. Now nobody out on track. We're expecting to come down pit road, as that was David Iezzi, the number 29 machine. Whoop, easy there. As Xavier Zanave and Antonio Bianchi have to check up to avoid getting to that number 29. A little bit of a lock up there from Bianchi to avoid getting into Iezzi. Right behind them, that's Julian Medor, Xavier Zanave. Medor having a great race, up 9 spots, started 21st, currently 12th on the circuit. Big ups to Bryceman TV, who tuned in supporting the broadcast here tonight. And here's the battle for fourth. Fairchild, Callaway, McAllister. It's going to be caught tight between Callaway and Fairchild. Callaway makes the pass clean. Peterson's going to have company for third here if Callaway runs uncontested. So Peterson in third, has Callaway within 4/10 behind, but still a very busy racetrack. Third through sixth, with McAllister separated by about a second and a half here. You can also see Ben Depew, that number 19 machine, just at the tail end of this pack. Very impressed with Depew's run here tonight. A bit of an uphill battle following the sprint, but speaking of battle, here we go, Peterson and Callaway. Callaway pulls up alongside Peterson. Makes that pass very, very clean into turn one, so Peterson's going to fall back to fourth. His first position lost so far here this evening. Jacob Bramley with an off-track excursion. Let's see what happened to Bramley. The bright yellow number 6 machine, always easy to spot Bramley. Just cooks it in a little bit too deep and finds himself in the gravel trap. So Callaway trying to salvage some points here. Up into third, 12 positions gained so far. Got another battle going on. Let's pan back to Xavier Zanave. He's got Charles Carrener right behind with Julian Medor as well as Jacob Bramley. It's going to be a 4-car battle shaping up for ninth. Only 14 drivers out on track. Here we go, Carrener looking for a bit of a comeback. I think this is the first debut for Carrener in that 76. And what just happened to Zanave? As we see that car get absolutely exploded there. Oh, Zanave hard across the curbing. Checks up lightly. Captain CK, Charles Carrener, tags him. And Xavier Zanave just gets obliterated there. Gazi Zuhair gutted to see that happen to Xavier Zanave. Jaden Calloway just clicked off the fastest lap of the race, a 1:15.76. 1/100th of a second faster than Aguilar's best lap time. Calloway 10 seconds back from Aguilar. So as we get ready to start the halfway point next time by for Aguilar, I think he can just kind of stay consistent. And in theory, should be able to pick up a win, but it's going to be tough. Nick Bieber has been running very consistently in second. Let's go back to Gareth McAllister. He is battling Michael Fairchild for a top 5 spot. McAllister still our hard charger out on track. Up 13 positions, about a half second back from Fairchild. McAllister within 4/10 now of Fairchild. AJ Brenner unfortunately joined us from the spectator area. The number 80 machine was forcibly retired on lap 4, which I believe was the second caution, the first restart of the evening. Fairchild, a lot of company from McAllister, the Aussie, within a quarter of a second. Calloway again the fastest lap of the race, a 1:15.47 now for the number 37 machine. He's up 3 spots. It's going to be very tough as we've crossed the halfway mark for Calloway to gain any more positions, unless Aguilar or Beaver have some sort of big complications. Let's see if we can go on board the Aussie of Gareth McAllister. Gives you an idea of how fast the world is going by for these Super Formula machines. Fairchild builds back up that advantage to about a half second up over that number 25 machine. Aguilar, Beaver set their fastest laps of the race. Calloway continues to improve with a 1:15.13. He is ripping that number 37 machine. Let's go back to Fairchild and McAllister. They've been so close for the last few laps. It gets within a couple tenths of a second. And I'm not sure if that's the dirty air causing the hesitation from McAllister, but then it goes back in the favor of Fairchild here. Right now it's 4/10 between the two. And I just don't know what's going to happen. Both drivers have been struggling with consistency so far this season. And it's good to see them running so strong out on track here at the Dutch Grand Prix. McAllister looking for some different lines here. Pulls up alongside Fairchild. Fairchild's going to guard the inside going into turn one. Neither driver on the push to pass. McAllister tries the long way around. Fairchild runs defensive. McAllister's going to try and get set up for the left-hander here. Excuse me, the right-hander. Now, there we go. Into the tighter portion of the racetrack, really wedging those cars into the banking here at the Dutch Grand Prix. Looks like McAllister is going to make the pass stick. Fairchild right back in tow. These guys are having a mighty heated battle here for fifth. And it looks like McAllister is going to make it stick. Now another battle we had out on track. Charles Cairn of the 76 trying to remount. He's definitely struggled with consistency. I don't know if he's ever ran the Super Formulas before. He's got top 5 pace, just still looking for the consistency. And now he's battling for 11th with David Iezzi. Only 13 drivers still out on track. McAllister hands down the hard charger, up 14 positions. And look at that, Callaway. A 115 flat, a 115.071. Close enough to call that one a flat, I think. Is Callaway going to get into the 114s during the feature? Now we got a report Barber had a crash here. Let's see what happened to Jeremy Barber, who was running 13th in the number 2 machine. Looks like it's going to be a solo incident. Loses the back end. Well done. It looks like a big save. Now he had an off track right after that. I wonder if he overheated the tires there. Pulls off the circuit to avoid getting burnt over, as that was Aguilar making his way around traffic. So Barber is going to be the first driver still driving to go down a lap. Aguilar has a 2-second gap over Nick Beaver. Beaver's been running well, but I'm interested to see what Callaway can do here. He's 5.6 seconds back from Beaver. With 10 laps left to go, I'm just not sure if Callaway's going to have enough time here to improve on a third. Now that being said, after the sprint race, I think a third would be still a great thing here for Callaway. He came into tonight the points leader. AJ Brenner was in second, but unfortunately having a very rough go here at the Dutch Grand Prix. And let's go back, I see another battle shaping up. Jacob Bramley, Julian Medor battling for 9th. Bramley's up 5 spots, Medor is up 11 here this evening. A quarter of a second separating these two drivers. Bramley pulls about a 3/4 of a second gap. Now while that battle's going on, Ben Depew and Antonio Bianchi have their own battle for 7th. Depew up 11 spots. Bianchi up 3 so far, that number 17 machine. Here comes Bianchi. He's got a big run. Depew shuts the door as who is that off track? That was Jeremy Barber seeing the blue flag and taking aggressive, evasive maneuvers. So two distinct battles out on track. The battle for 7th, Ben Depew, Antonio Bianchi. And the battle for 9th with Jacob Bramley versus Julian Mador. Also looked like briefly Nick Peterson might have had some company. Peterson must have had a huge bobble. All of a sudden, McAllister looking to be in contention for 4th. McAllister on the push to pass. Looked like Peterson was recharging there. McAllister makes a very clean pass for 4th. That's going to be his 15th spot gained. Right now, the top three, Aguilar, Beaver, Callaway, far and away stretched out. McAllister and Peterson make up the top 5. Beaver once again clicks off his fastest lap of the race at 1:15.36. 7 laps left to go here, Zandvoort. Beaver closing that gap 1.5 seconds behind the race leader Aguilar. Now Jacob Bramley, unfortunately going to retire the number 6 machine. Let's get a look and see what the crash was. Now a little bit of side bets coming up in the spectator area. Bramley dips the tires into the dirt, spins it around, and I think hits the magic "I'm not having fun" the keyboard combination, the old Alt F4. And we did get confirmation Callaway, the first driver in the 114s, a 114.99. AJ Brenner thinking Callaway might be able to pull himself up and grab another position by the time this is all said and done. And also worth mentioning, Callaway on the broadcast software does not have a single reported off-track excursion. So not only is he incredibly fast, but he's been incredibly smooth and consistent. Fascination, let us know what country is hosting the server. The league admin is from Canada. I want to say the session's hosted in Boston, but it is a very diverse field as you see the flags on the left side of live timing. I mean, we've got Americans, Canadians, Australians, Italians, Frenchmen. Normally there's at least an Austrian and a few Brazilians out here. So a very, very diverse field. And Fascination, I see the message has been tweaked there, but if you're interested, check them out, leaguezero.net. They race the Super Formulas every Thursday night, always broadcasted with live race control. Galloway still hanging back by about 2.5 seconds. Jeremy Barber. Uh-oh. We just noticed Jeremy Barber has taken a tow and has retired the number 2 machine. Let's see what happened to Barber as he joins us in the spectator area. That's pretty rough. Barber tries to rejoin here. And I think he realized that his car was in about 100 different pieces. And then takes the tow back to pit road. So we have whittled it down to 11 drivers. It has been a race of attrition. And I just realized something, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're going to hit the time limit before we hit the lap count. We're 42 out of 45 minutes in. I think with 3 minutes left to go, we're not going to hit the lap count. I think it's going to time out here. Now, question to AJ Brenner, who's joining. Would the drivers have been able to complete the 30 laps if we stayed green the whole time? Surely we would, with a couple minutes to spare. But we get ready. It's going to be 2 minutes left to go. Oh, Julian Medora had an off track. And that's going to put Charles Carrener back in striking position, maybe for 9th. No, I think Carrener has a little bit of a bobble. So some of the drivers saying they would not have made it till the end without hitting the time limit regardless. I think we would have made it if we didn't have the 2 full course cautions here. So it's going to be 1 minute left to go. And yes, we see the white flag is waving. AJ Brenner saying we could have completed the laps provided if it went clean, but that was not expected. And with 1 lap left to go, we are on the white flag. Nick Beaver is within 1 second of Aguilar, and I believe Beaver is on the push to pass as well as Aguilar, so both drivers hitting the magic button. That is a big deficit for Beaver to try and overcome in 1 lap. Beaver did set his fastest lap last time by a 1:15.11, 3/10 faster than Aguilar the lap prior, but I don't think Aguilar is worrying too much here. Now Aguilar is out of push to pass. Beaver has a little bit remaining. Drivers are allocated 200 seconds of push-to-pass activity per race. In a lap, that's a minute and 15. I mean, that's a whole lap and then some, but the checkered flag will fly. Aguilar makes it back-to-back at Zandervoort, excuse me, the Dutch Grand Prix. Nick Beaver brings home 2nd, and Callaway will round out the top 3. We're going to try and get these drivers up here to victory lane. And then start the podium celebrations. We've got Aguilar. Now, worth noting as well, Beaver just set the fastest lap of the race on that final lap almost tying Callaway. They both show 1:14.95s. Beavers is highlighted purple, so in theory, he was a little bit faster. As it looks like we've got Callaway. And we're going to get drivers up here to victory lane. We're going to start things off with Jaden Callaway, the number 37 machine. Jaden, a bit of a roller coaster evening here. A tough sprint race, but able to mount a fantastic charge at the end of the feature, up 12 spots from where you started. What's your feelings after this evening?
Yeah, it definitely didn't go the way I wanted it to, but considering the circumstances, I think I've got to be happy with how I finished.
Yeah, I mean, salvage some points, still a clean car at the end of the feature, and 2 safety cars, which I believe is a League Zero record, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was pretty chaotic. I got kind of lucky in a couple different places, avoiding wrecks, but thankfully we were able to finish the race.
And Jane, we haven't seen you start that far back in a feature event in quite some time. Was that a bit of a brutal reminder of how much of a meat grinder it can be that far back?
Yeah, I knew it'd be tough, but I didn't expect it to be like that, but it was all right in the end.
Well, hey, glad you're able to capitalize on the evening, score some good points, and a podium at the end of this thing. Before I let you go, because I know it's been a long and grueling night for everybody, who do you want to give a shout to that helps make tonight's third possible for you?
Yeah, as always, my friends and family watching and supporting, my team, Squid Gang Racing, my teammate AJ, and you guys at Team Goon Squad.
Jaden, always a pleasure, bud. Couldn't do it without you, and congratulations on the podium here tonight.
Thanks, James.
That was Jaden Callaway mounting a comeback with third. Up next, we've got our very own Nick Beaver. Another second place, another great night, and man, you were ripping there, setting the fastest lap of the race on the final lap.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that was lucky. Saved all my push to pass to the end again because, again, I don't know when to use it. Yeah, the only reason I was pushing so hard is because Jaden was coming. Oh my God, he was, I don't know, probably half a second on average quicker every lap. So that was terrifying, and I was finding some pace obviously, but just trying to push and stay ahead of him. I was hardly paying attention to Raymond at all. Because Jaden was so quick. But congrats to those guys. Good job, Raymond, for the double win, and Jaden with the comeback. That was pretty good. And man, he was coming. A lot of fun, though. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, great all-around results for you tonight, both in the sprint and the feature. Now, to talk about your teammate, Charles Carriner, it seems like if he sticks around, I think he's going to have the pace to be up there with you guys in the top 5 once he gets the consistency dialed in.
Absolutely, I totally agree. That dude has pace. He has pace. We'll maybe work on racecraft a little bit. I don't know what happened in this one, but he's got pace, and I know he's got consistency too because as we saw in LMP3 or as I talked about, he had consistency where I didn't. So I know he can do it. It's just piecing it all together. I know his time's going to come. He's definitely got podium pace in my opinion. So I'm rooting for him. I'll help him wherever he needs it, but I think he's going to do great here.
I mean, it's almost an identical story of you when you started a couple of months ago here in the Super Formula. Came out, took a while to get things dialed in, but now that we're late in the season, I mean, it seems like the program's pretty dialed for you in that number 87.
Yeah, slowly but surely figuring it out. The car's new to everyone, so I have no excuses, but I love learning new cars. And I'll put more seat time in cars that end up being fun. So this is one of those fun cars. I look forward to this league race every week just because I get to drive the car with a great group of guys.
Well, always good to have you up here, Nick. Always a pleasure talking to you. Before I let you sign off and celebrate, who do you want to give a shout to that helped to make this possible for you?
Again, Captain CK. Hopefully in the future we get Eric Fox back and Steven, last name I can't pronounce. But yeah, getting some of those J2I guys back over here would be pretty cool. kind of mix the skill set a little bit in difference in cars. But congratulations to Ray Aguilar, Jaden Calloway. Great comeback. So awesome job, podium guys.
Well, Nick, always a pleasure, bud, and hope to have you back up here next week.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was Nick Beaver bringing it home in second. Up next, the man, the myth, the legend, the back-to-back here tonight, the Dutch Grand Prix. Welcome back, Ray Aguilar. Stella has her groove back.
Yeah, let's hope. I'm now, as of these last two races, these are the last two races I've done at 40 years old, so we're getting there. So I'm hoping now that, the old man vibes have hit, I can start being more consistent.
You very quickly went from edge of the grip, really focused to get off my lawn, and it seems like, that obviously worked well for you. And granted, you and I talked about and said you're not the type of guy that can just kind of phone it in and not give maximum effort, but man, tonight things really came together.
Yeah, I felt like I had pretty good control of the pace. Jaden was a rocket ship, was flying up through the field. He was so fast. His pace was like 6-7 tenths faster than ours at some points. But, I had a bunch more in the tank. I felt like I was controlling the pace and trying to keep that gap, 1.5 to 2 seconds. And those are the best races if you can do that.
And yeah, Ray, you had clean air. You got to pretty much really didn't have any forward issues after the first couple of cautions. But with those two cautions, were you apprehensive that you were going to get tied up in the shenanigans that we kept restarting the field and it seemed like it was going to get worse and worse and worse there?
Yeah, I was hoping I didn't run into something. Like, I still don't know what happened on the first restart. Like, I kind of was low. Next thing I know, there's a car sideways in front of me, and I got a bunch of X's flying on the screen. So I don't know what happened there. But in general, like, I'm still not sure why we came out of the pits and there were still people out. Kind of the strategy is to come in and pit on as soon as that happens. It's about the only strategy we can work out unless somebody knows a faster way.
Yeah, unless you're hoping for a second caution, which maybe that would have worked out well for those drivers, but I think those drivers that stayed out were part of the initial contact that brought out the second caution.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping I didn't do anything wrong there. I was just trying to stay on the inside. I had a car to the inside of me. I was trying to stay on the inside going to the bowl turn. Next thing I know, I'm looking at a car pointing backwards at me.
Yeah, I watched the replay from several different angles. It's tough to call judgment there. There was contact, but I can't tell if that was a racing incident, two drivers trying to occupy the same spot, or, I'm not sure how the stewards are going to shake that down. And admittedly, I didn't even think about that. Do you think a post-race review might put you in danger of losing this top spot?
I don't know. We'll have to talk to my lawyer about that. He's the one that answers questions about that kind of stuff. But no, I don't think I did anything wrong. I'd have to look at it again, but I don't think I actually did anything wrong, but I guess we'll see.
Yep, time will tell. We'll look forward to the steward reviews, the lawyer's post-race breakdown. But Ray, right now, bringing it back-to-back in the unofficial results, a great night, a comeback story for you. I know that the mid part of the season has been very frustrating for you and the team, but good to have you back in the top spot once more. And you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night, my friend. Who do you want to give a shout to that helps make it happen?
I want to thank my mom. She gave me a huge pep talk earlier. She's awesome, and everybody knows that. And I want to thank her for kind of talking me off the ledge. There was a while there where I told her, I'm like, Mom, I got to hang up the racing gloves here. I can't handle the stress of my life anymore. And she told me, she's like, look, man, obviously you were born for this stuff, so you got to keep doing it. So I want to thank her. I want to thank my wife for keeping me sane this week, and everybody else that goes into this effort. It's a team effort to get here. And I also want to thank Jaden for keeping me honest. He's had an awesome season. He's going to win this championship. He's awesome. He's super duper fast, and I don't know of a more deserving guy to do it. He's just an absolute beauty. He's a legend.
Well, Ray, very well said. Loved by fans, competitors, and broadcasters alike. Congratulations on the back-to-back here tonight, and hope to have you back up here next week as well.
I love you too, best friend.
Thank you, sir. That was Ray Aguilar bringing it home in the top spot. Back-to-back wins here at the Dutch Grand Prix. For the feature event, he was accompanied by Nick Beaver, as well as Ray said in his own words, a very deserving Jaden Calloway. On behalf of LeagueZero.net and Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, my name has been James East. Thank you all so much for spending your Thursday night with us, and I'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.